carrying on the traditions of Sankofa, man, to go forward, but to go back to collect the things that we may have forgotten, things that we may have overlooked, to collect back our lessons, so that we have a clearer direction of where we're going in full intact, man. So it's always a pleasure, man, to connect with you, brother, every week, every Tuesday, 7 p.m., man. How are you feeling?
My brother Logik, as the same way, man. It's very balancing and peaceful and just good for my spirit and my health too to see you every Tuesday. I'm good, actually, to be honest, I'm incredibly sore because I was doing a hardcore workout routine this weekend.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it too much because I'd rather walk the walk than talk the talk, but I'm putting in some work and it's good.
Putting in some work, man, getting started. I feel like it's the weather, like spring, new beginning, gotta get back into that flow.
Absolutely. And I'm just at a point in my life where I just want to advance another level. So, or just, kind of clear up some old stuff and take care of some new stuff. So I'm putting in the focus, and it's hard work, but it's paying off, and I feel good. But how about you, man? How you doing these days?
That sounds like very like intentional work, and I feel like I'm in the same place of just like this like renewal and trying to get out of like old mindsets that no longer serve me or work, for like the betterment of what I'm trying to do, and really just like embrace like change. I feel like change is inevitable, and but with change comes like opportunities. So just like recognizing that it's all part of the process, but it's really just to keep moving forward. You know what I mean? So a lot of that energy has just been happening and going around in many different ways, but I feel optimistic and I feel blessed, so yeah, man.
Yo, you're right. I like how you say that. With change comes opportunity, man, because that's really it. It's not, change isn't something to always fear and always think that it's going to be a bad thing. And, it's a chance for growth, and it's a chance for a new chapter. So that's great that it's happening for you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all it is, man. I mean, change will be uncomfortable, but it's inevitable. You know what I mean? And I just kind of look at like the seasons, so gotta be one with the seasons. And now it's spring, so it's renewal and ready.
Absolutely, it really is time for renewal. And the spring, thankfully, has been kind of nice. I took a little walk today, and it's nice out there. And nature. I don't know if we'll have one more snowstorm for the year. It feels like we might not.
Whoa.
I don't think so. I'm hoping that we don't. I feel like we don't. We won't. So
it is Toronto.
Then we're really in the spring, which would be nice.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, man. We had a wonderful guest in store today, but he's a very busy man. I don't know if he's popped up yet, but in case he doesn't come, there's definitely a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
it really is.
Our special guest, he's been like a solid, promoter consistently since like 1992. Like before I even got on the hip hop scene, I came in the scene a little later, like 98. Elemental series, where it was the time where I entered, and I know that REMG, Ramos was all part of that that whole, I guess, production. So if anyone who's been to like any like hip hop concerts between like the 90s and like the early 2000s, there's a good chance that you've definitely been to his show. If you went to a hip hop show at Reverb, at Opera House, Comfort Zone, things of that nature, you've definitely gone to one of his shows. So definitely excited to hear more about just like bringing this culture to the forefront. And when I look back at the legacy, it's kind of epic. Some of the artists that has come to the city. I'm been very fortunate to experience that. I know you're like like you are the concert, always in the front stage with your hands up.
Yeah, that's it's my second home, one of them, definitely. Somebody came up with the term Mr. Front Row. I think it was actually Millennius from Tone Mason. I think he might have been one of the first to call me Mr. Front Row. But I like that. I like that. There's I just, it's a nice place to be. It's good. They said it in one of the movie concerts, concert movies. I mean, they, you know, some people always want to be backstage and stuff, but when you're backstage, I mean, you have access to the artist on a level. But if you really love the concert and the show, sometimes being backstage doesn't give you the best angles to watch the show. And it's just like, you know, it's good for your ego, but you're just, you know, you're behind the artist or you're beside the artist. And it's like, honestly, that's cool at the end of the show. True. But when you go to the show and you really love the music, it's good to be watching the show from the direction of the energy of the show. So I agree. It's good to be. And I mean, I say all this because as a passionate music lover, a concert misser, there are two people in music history who are legendarily always up front or just very close to it, which is both Jimi Hendrix and Michael Jackson.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, that being said, we have our guest. Our guest has arrived. Is in the green room, and So I think we're just gonna get into this, man. This is really exciting because I definitely been to a lot of like the concerts that he's promoted over the years, and so it'd be kind of cool to hear you know, the flip side to the story. So let's, with no further ado. Add him in the call. Jeez.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Welcome. Salute to the OG, man.
OG. Yes, big brother John. How are you doing?
Good. I'm good. It's so good to see you both.
Amazing. Man. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come through.
Nice shirt, Addy.
Oh yeah, I had to go in the archives. They pulled something out. It gave me a memory that actually, screw it. We're gonna turn a little bit. I gotta thank you because I honestly think I never even thought about it until I pulled it out. But I think you were the first person to ever introduce me to King Rain. When you brought Rain to a 416, I'd never heard of him. I'd never seen him, and I was like, who is this? And I will never forget that moment. So, I mean, just that, I didn't even have that with other questions we had, but that was you in my mind.
Yeah, you know what? That actually means a lot because, I mean, he means a lot to me. Like, he's just always, since day one, he's always been, you know, and bless him wherever he is. You know, like, he's always been one of those guys where, you know, people always talk about, you know, what could have been with a lot of people, but with him, he's one of those guys that I'd put him on any stage anywhere. He's just got the charisma. He's got the talent. Not a bad looking dude, you know, like he's a little suave. It always had like his lines are always tight, you know, like that's. But yeah, that's amazing, Addy. I'm like, I'm very proud of that. That's good to hear.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it was when, you know, I to be super duper like mad real. It was when I was like 23 or something, young, passionate MC, and I was young and I was just like, how do I get on this stage? I want to rock 416. But and then you put him on, and I was like, yo, I need to learn from a dude like that. That guy's dope. I ain't mad at all. Whoever this Rain is, this guy's ill, and John is a smart promoter to put him on. Dope.
Yep.
Yeah, so, it's honestly that's amazing to hear though.
Yeah, for real. That's just we're really happy to have you here, man. You are so important to music history and so many levels.
I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, I read your email and I'm like, yep. And I just replied. I replied like on the spot. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you both. I mean, thank you both for having me because it's nice to it's nice to catch up and then you know normally. Even pre-pandemic, you know, I don't spend as much time out as I used to. So I don't see people in general. And, you know, and that obviously is non-existent now that we're kind of all locked up. So it's good to see both your faces.
Appreciate it.
And Logik, you look the same, boy. You look.
You too, though.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, hey, what the hell? That's
Appreciate that.
Good.
Appreciate that. So, man. So Addy, you got some questions lined up, man. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I mean, there's a couple levels we could go, but like because of the pandemic and everything, I did want to focus on music, man, and like you know, I want to get into your life too, and just other things that people might not know about Johnathan Ramos, just because they need to respect the damn architects. But like, like first and foremost, like, I mean, I just wanted to start simple. Like, when, like, thinking back to young Johnathan Ramos, like, what made you want to get into concert promotion?
Yeah, it's not easy, man.
Oh no, I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's, you know, we do a lot of things when we're young and dumb, you know, and that's kind of, you always think to yourself, if I knew then what I know now. But I'm glad I didn't, because if I knew then what I know now, I probably wouldn't get into this business. And that's, I think that's true for a lot of people. There has to be a little bit of naivete and a little bit of sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like foolishness to, you know, to try anything, especially things that haven't been tried before. So I'm thankful for that. But I mean, I grew up in Brampton, and we were always around music. Like the radio was always on in my house. And, you know, I tried my hand at learning music. I just didn't have the patience or the discipline for it. So much to my, you know, my father's dismay, you know, I tried the guitar for a couple of years, and then that didn't take. But in high school, my friends and I were all music people, and a bunch of us got together and just started throwing parties. We DJ'd, bought a bunch of gear, and back then, throwing parties meant like community centers, which then evolved. Like one place was like a church basement, a couple of things like that, which then evolved into we would spin at our high school dances. You know, we got a little crew happening, and that was really it. It was like buying music. It's like going downtown every weekend to buy, you know, to go. At the time, it was Star Sound, right? So like all our money going down, spending 3 hours at Star Sound, buying everything we could, and then grabbing a piece at the Big Slice at Young and Gerard, and then and then heading back, and then so I can't remember exactly, but part of that then was, you know, I found my dad worked for Rogers Cable at the time, and so we had cable in the house. I was hooked up to our FM, and one day I don't know how I discovered WBLK in Buffalo. Yes. And so that was like a thing. So we were listening to that. And again, I can't recall how, but one Saturday afternoon, I don't know what I was doing on that end of the radio dial, but I found CKLN. And which was, the timing was great, because it was like in the middle of Ron Nelson's show. And so that's kind of like when and nobody I knew in Brampton could pick up CKLN, right? We could, because we had cable, but it was hooked up to our stereo receiver. So you couldn't pick up a lot of stuff. Like you could pick up the big stations, you know, like the at the time, and a lot of people listen to AM radio. But I can't even tell you why I was like flipping the dial. And at the time, like back then, there was no hip hop. It's what, you know, collectively people just called sort of like club music or dance music. So Ron was playing, you know, I remember clearly, like Ron was playing like Madonna's Into the Groove, and there was a little bit of everything, because back then it was what we now call R&B, but it was more dancier. It was like that Miami sound, you know, things like that. A lot of the New York stuff that now we call electro, you know, like the Bambata and stuff like that. So, and then all of a sudden it was like, that was Saturdays from 1 to 4. And then, you know, so it all kind of, so, you know, fast forward, we do high school, we all graduate, everybody kind of goes their separate ways, you know, schools, careers. And that was sort of the end of the crew, so to speak. You know, we were all friends, but we didn't, you know, obviously DJ high school anymore. We didn't really throw parties. And so I kind of, you know, went from trying to find my kind of, you know, my career. So, and eventually a couple of years later, ended up working for the Ontario government downtown. And I was doing that. That was my 9 to 5, but it wasn't really that fulfilling. You know, it was a great job, great benefits, all that kind of stuff. The security was there. Yeah, it was kind of, you know, it wasn't like I was searching for it. I didn't, you know, at that point I was too far gone from being a DJ to kind of get back into it. But I had a close friend, Logik, you may know him. Addy, I think you know him for sure, but Errol Nazareth.
Oh yeah.
Errol at the time. So Errol, the backstory, Errol went to boarding school in England with my cousin. And they all immigrated. Eventually, they all immigrated to Canada, and then that's how I met Errol, through my cousin. And, Errol was like, I'm downtown. I'm right for, at the time he was the music writer for Now Magazine. And he was like, if you ever want to go to shows, I always got a +1, come hang. And eventually I moved downtown for my job, and kept in touch with Errol and started going to shows with Errol. And it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I remember clearly a couple of shows we went to, and Errol had a really eclectic, and still does, eclectic music taste. So he opened me up to a lot of things, jazz, like, but he was also friends with Ron Nelson. And I idolized Ron. I was like, Ron Nelson, right? Because at the time Ron was like, jack of all trades. Ron owned a studio where a lot of like important records were made. Ron had a record label. Ron was a DJ, but hosted, the Fantastic Voyage, which at the time was sort of the epicenter of the music scene in Toronto for hip hop. Wow. And then Ron was a promoter. And back then, going to parties and going to concerts was a bit of a crapshoot, right? You go and you don't know what's going to happen. Like, is the artist going to show up? Is it going to get shut down? Is it going to get overcrowded? Is that all over the place, right? Because it was fairly easy to do shows back then. You just had some money. There were no real promoters per se, but there was Ron and like Sunshine Sound at the time. They were throwing, and they were known for like, those people had legit stuff. And every once in a while, somebody'd show up. You'd never heard the name before, but they'd book out the concert hall or a community center. They'd throw a thing, and maybe the artist would show up, maybe they wouldn't. If they did show up, some shit would pop off, and like it would get shut down, or it would get so it was like, but it was part of the thing. It would like, let's just go. And if we're home early, we're home early. And, but Ron's were always like, he was Ron. Like, he was like, and he built great shows. And my sort of one of my not last memories, I should say it like that, but with Ron, he did this crazy show with, who was it? It was Cypress Hill, Chub Rock, UMCs, P-Rock, CL Smooth, Pushnikins. And he put this together, and this was at the concert hall. All right.
What?
Wow.
And so I remember, so we go there, and Errol took me to the show. It was an amazing show. And I remember that's where Errol introduced me to Ron, and Ron was like, man, I don't know, I hate this business. He was literally like, fuck this shit. And he was like, I'm out. I'm like, this is probably going to be my last show. At that point, Ron was starting to dabble in reggae.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is all my memory, so hopefully I didn't get any of this wrong. Ron might correct me on it. But so at that point, Ron had sort of like was trying to step out of doing hip hop shows in Toronto, which left this massive, massive hole. Right when music was starting to bubble. Fast forward, I don't know what year that was, but fast forward a couple of months, I'm in my government job. I'm kind of like, bored, wondering like, can I do this for the rest of my life? And then I kind of thought to myself, like, what can I do to go do, be around music? And, I don't know what struck me as like why I thought I should be doing shows, but I thought maybe it was a conversation with Errol, but I thought maybe, there's a void. There's no shortage of DJs. There's no shortage of a lot of elements of that, of the culture, but all of a sudden there was nobody that was really doing reliable, consistent shows. So, again, young and dumb, I was like, yeah, how hard can a concert be? And so, I tried it, and I remember this was late 92, early 93.
92.
I started doing, and I can't remember what, I didn't know if I had any acts, but I think I focused in on, at the time, Arrested Development. They hadn't been there. People were still doing shows, but, I thought, let me at least start with that, because that was when, the album had just come out. Tennessee was popping. Like, I thought, this is something for everyone.
Okay.
So yeah, it's crazy when I tell this story now, but the process, and there was no book, there was no school, there was definitely no internet, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, the show. So let me start with the artist, and I had their record, so I'm like, I don't know where to start. So I look on the back of a record, and right there in the fine print on the bottom, it says copyright, whatever, 1992, Warner Music Canada. I'm like, okay. So I open the phone book, right?
Phone book.
And I look, phone book, Warner Music Canada. And I think they're on Birchmount. I mean, they still are on Birchmount. But I literally looked at a number, and I remember it was a 7-digit number because this is pre-area codes. Everything was 416. So the numbers were only like 7 digits. So I call up, and it's like Warner Music Canada. I'm like, hey, and this is me. And it's funny in hindsight, but it's like, I want to book Arrested Development. She's like, 1 second. Puts me through what I guess was marketing. And I was like, I want to book, and somebody picked, hi, can I help you? Hi, I want to book Warner. And they're like, yeah, we don't do that here. We're just a record company. I'm like, do you know how? She's like, I don't, but maybe call our office in New York. Right. So I was like, okay. Hung up. I didn't even ask for the number. I hung up. Back then, what they call directory assistance was, like all done by phone, right? So the directory assistance for anywhere in North America was 555-1212, right?
Wow.
So if you wanted to find a number in California, you do 310-555-1212, and that would put you on to and they'd be like, so I'm like, okay, 212-555-1212. And they're like, directory assistance for New York. How can I help you? And I'm like, Warner Music, please. And they're like, 1 second. And then they read you the number, right? It's not automated. They don't connect you. And so I call, and at the time, I think they were in like Times Square or something. So this is early, like this is January of like 93. I call, and again, switchboard, right? There was no like, press 1 for this, press 2 for this. I call, and it's like Warner Music. And, now I know it was a woman that sat in a massive atrium, three operators, and they were the sort of like the gatekeepers for everything. And again, I said like, hi, I want to book Arrested Development. She's like, 1 second. Connects me to marketing.
Wow. Then
somebody in marketing picks up the phone, and I'm always met with sort of like pause because they're like, this is weird, but sure. And so I call, and I'm like, hi, I'd like to book a Arrested Development for a concert in Toronto. They're like, okay, 1 second. Then sends me to the product manager, the marketing manager who oversaw Arrested Development for the US. She picks up the phone, and I said, yeah. She's like, oh no, you have that. I don't do that. You have to call the booking agent. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what's a booking agent?
What's the booking? Yeah.
But I didn't say that because I'm trying to act like not stupid.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah. So she's like, here, hold on 1 second. And then comes back. She's like, here's her name and number. It's called, the company's called William Morris Agency. I'm like, okay, call that number. And the woman's name is Kara Lewis. And so I was like, okay, no idea. So I call, and I don't know, I have no idea who this woman is, right? I'm just calling it. And they're like, William Morris, Kara Lewis's office. I'm like, hi, I want to book a restaurant for Toronto. Okay. When? I said, I like the summer, and I have like no information.
Yeah.
So they're like, 1 second, please hold for Kara. And then I'm on this power hold, and like 5 minutes later, she's like, hi, Kara's busy. I'll get her to call you back. Sure.
Oh my gosh,
a week goes by, no Kara. Call her again. Hi, Kara Lewis, please. Now I'm kind of getting the rhythm of it. So now I'm not now I know her name, and I know she's the person that can help me. Again, power hold. 5 minutes later, hey, Kara asked me to take a message. Can I? I'm like, okay. This goes on for like a month.
Wow.
And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, I know I've never met this woman, but her name sounds familiar, and I don't know why. But whatever, it's just, maybe it's somebody I know similar, who knows. So this goes on, and I'm not giving up. And at some point then I become sort of not friends, but the assistants start to get to know me, right? Because I'm trying to be super nice.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, and they're like, it's Johnathan Ramos from Toronto. Hey, Johnathan, how are you? How's Toronto? Like this is eventually that rapport. And she's like, listen, Kara's got like 3 calls on hold, but like I did give her your message, and I'll give it to her again. It's like it feels like I'm getting somewhere. So, and I keep doing so every week. And I said, like, great, I know she's busy, and so I don't know how many times this happened, but maybe the 6th or 7th time I call, and at some point, when somebody's like, okay, this guy's not giving up, because eventually they don't call you back because, but of like 7 messages over 7 weeks. And she's like, okay, fuck. So then I'm on a power hold. And now I'm just used to like hearing the music, right, on the hold, and eventually waiting for the assistant to pick up. It just becomes a routine thing. And don't forget, I've got a day job. So I come home from work, I call as soon as I get home, And so this one day, I can't remember if it was February, whenever, and I'm on hold, and I hear Paid in Full on the hold music. Right? So Eric B. and Rakim's Paid in Full on the hold music. And I don't know if you'll remember this when I say it, but nobody remembers it. It stands out to me for obvious reasons. But the opening spiel on Paid in Full is Rakim talking to Eric B, right? And it literally goes something like, "Yo, it's about time we finish this record. I'm, da da da. It's like, are you ready?" And it's like, "You good? You good?" And he goes, "Norby Walters our agent. No, Norby Walters our manager. Kara Lewis our agent, and together we're paid in full." And right then, as I'm like, Kara Lewis, and at the time, don't forget, like. Still to this day, like Rakim's like if you ask me my top 5, he's there or is up there.
Right.
But that album I know front to back.
Right.
Like I don't know a lot of records front to back. I know that record front to back. I like to this day. So I was like, and right then it struck me while I'm on hold why this woman's name is familiar, and then I get shook. And then guess who picks up the phone?
You already know.
Right? While the song's playing, and now I've kind of lost myself in it, and she's like, "Hello," and she's like, "Hello, hello," and I'm like, "Oh shit," because now my mind is like, "Oh shit, it's her," and I'm getting scared. Like, hi, Kara. Yes, what can I do for you? My name's John. I'm calling from Toronto. I want to book a rest album. She's like, "Well, we already have a show happening in this year, so I can't help you with that. But give me 1 second, and I'll get somebody to help you." And that was it. And literally before I could say thank you, like hold. 5 minutes later, somebody else picks up, and it was one of her assistants at the time. His name's Peter, who's an agent to this day, and he was sort of the junior guy, right, that dealt with all the newbies. So he picked up the phone, told him this thing, and he goes, "Okay, well, Caro's right. The rest of it already has a thing, a tour planned. But why don't you do this? I'm gonna fax you a roster." And once you get fax, and once you get it, call me and let me know if there's stuff on there you want, and we work it out, right? And that's kind of how that process started. And so we went back and forth, and there's some obviously the caliber of people that she dealt with at the time, like people like Eric B, and but fast forward, I think into March, he comes back with a short list, and one of the acts on that short list is, hold on, let me see it.
Yes, wait. Yes, exactly.
I get my thing right.
I just said like, yes, and hold I was just gonna say that the timing is perfect because. Go on. I'll let you finish.
Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. That's the part. Yes.
So he says to me, "I have the Far Side available," and he gives me a date, and he gives me a date, and I was like, "Okay, let me call you back, and it's this much money and all this kind of stuff." I was like, "Okay, let me call you back, and we'll figure it out." At that point, this is about half a year after Bizarre Ride dropped, and they had already been to Toronto the year before, and they played a show with I want to say they played like a show with like 2 or 3 other acts, right? Okay. So I was like, and I love the Far Side, and like that whole album was like, that was my joint. But
of course,
I'm thinking to myself, and then he gives me a Monday in June.
Oh,
so I'm like, and I don't know what's what, I don't know what things are worth, but I'm pretty sure he's overcharging me, right? So, and I think to myself, so I call him back. I said, "Oh, listen," I was like, "Listen, you got to start somewhere. You want to do a show? Let me know. Like, this is what's here. If you can do it, I can get it done for you." So I hang up and I think to myself, like, I don't want this guy to think I'm wasting his time. So if I just be like, "Oh no, next," it's sort of like trying on stuff, and after at a store, and after a while, the salesperson's like, "This guy's never buying a thing." So I can now get Peter on the phone every time I call. So that's a win.
That is.
So I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm like, I fax him the offer, exactly what he says. He confirms the show. I get a contract over fax. And this is like fax with the thermal paper, the roll paper. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh, yes. The thin.
The thin stuff that came in rolls and it would cut. And, So I literally get a, like fax at home, where it's just like I come home from work one day and there's like 16 pages all in separate rolls on the floor, right? And it's the contract. And so they fax it to you, and then they mail you a thing. But anyways, so June 23rd of 93, I did my first show at the Opera House. And
wow.
And it's at the time I had just met these guys that became my friends, but they were a band called Bass's Bass.
Okay. Yeah.
That's right.
So and this is when there was 5-piece, but Mystic, Roger Mooking, was a rapper and Bass's Bass. He hadn't joined the band yet. The band was just a soul funk sort of outfit at the time. And at the time I lived at Queen and Spadina, which was across from the Cameron House. And sometime before I booked this show, I walked by the Cameron House, and there was a chalkboard sign they had out front. And it's like, it was on a Sunday, and it said Sunday Vibes and Stuff with Paulie Lopez, Bass's Bass, and Friends. And I'm like, I just love the name. I thought, like, name sounds dope. Bass's Bass. So it's $5. Me and a friend of mine went, and the show was crazy. It's Bass's Bass on stage, and they're basically playing songs, but they're also jamming with and did an open mic with a bunch of their friends who are all MCs. All right. And so I'm watching these guys, and they're doing breaks, and I've never seen anything like this. Is insane. So I looked at it, and after I was like, I introduced myself. I was like, "Oh, my name is Johnathan. I live across the street." And they're like, "Oh, cool. Thanks for coming. What'd you think?" And Ivana Santilli was.
I was going to say Ivana was in it at that time, right? Yeah.
At the time, it was Ivana. It was Chin and Jetty, who was the lead, who did bass, and then Ivana did trumpet, keys, and vocals. There's another guy, I can't remember his name, Kirsch, I think, played drums, and Chin's brother played guitar. And they were just sort of like a funk soul band. Anyway, so I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is insane. And around the same time, you remember a band called the Brand New Heavies?
Oh, yeah. Yes, so that's right. They were, similar.
The Brand New Heavies were what at the time was called acid jazz. And they were one of the big bands out of England that did this whole acid jazz sound, right? It was, people call it now soul jazz, but they had also they were signed in the US. They were signed in the UK, but in the US, their record came out on Delicious Vinyl, which was the label that the Far Side was on. And I think as a marketing plan to introduce them to American audiences, they put an album out called Heavy Rhyme Experience.
That's right, Volume 1.
Yeah.
Volume 1. And it was the Heavies backing up a bunch of rappers, of which the Far Side was. So then I have this in my head because I'm like, this album's amazing. And then I watch a local version of it right there at the Cameron House. So basically, and it was amazing. Like, the night was like, it was magical. So I introduced myself. I'm like, this is great. And we become friends. And eventually, like a couple of weeks later, I'm like, hey, I'm doing the show with the Far Side, because I'm thinking to myself, how do I do this show with a band that is on they're still the original record that already played to an audience? So I'm like, let me try something else. So I thought, let me create sort of a hip hop variety show, so to speak, right? And the base of the time were they were buzzing, and they had like a small fan base. So the show. Oh, and at the show, I met Paulie Lopez and John Bronski.
Okay, yes.
So they were all, and the show was presented by two black guys.
Come on now.
Yeah.
So at the time, like two black guys, it's just Adrian and Rob. They still had the store on Flawless, but they were just sort of a small label, and they were friends with Lopez because Paulie played there. They already kind of knew everybody else, right? Like, you know, John was John, like, you know, man about town, writer, like, you know, did everything. And so I meet all of them at the show. And, you know, that's kind of how that's how we all kind of became friends. Anyway, so I create the show, and we'll move on. I spent too much time talking about it, but the last part of it was John was like, yo, I got these DJs, they're dope, you should put them on. He's like, I do a radio show with them on Saturdays at CIUT so they can kind of like promote it, right? Soul Controllers.
Yes.
So Power and all of those guys,
yes,
and all those guys, they were the DJs on my first show. John was the host.
Wow.
Bass was the opening act.
They were.
The Far Side. And then to top it all off, I thought to myself, like, I was talking, Russell Peters, a friend, like we kind of grew up in Brampton. I didn't really know him. I find out after that our mothers went to school together in India, but I just kind of knew him from being around. But I kind of connected with him because Russell was like always around parties. Like he was just starting out with the comedy, but people knew him because he hung out with, you know, with Mastermind and started from scratch and like all those people, and was just always there. So we sort of reconnected. Crazy. And I thought to myself, hey, you want to open for a hip hop show? And he was like, fuck yeah. So, you know, I thought, what's the harm in it? So he was billed as the first of three. Like it was Russell Peters, Bass, Far Side, and then hosted by John Bronski, music by the Soul Controllers. So
that's an incredible lineup, man. Like
that was my first show.
Your first show.
Dude. Oh my God. I thank you for that.
I lost most of my money on that show. So, and this is money I had saved up. This was my savings, right? So I lost most of it because everybody overcharged me. Like the Opera House, I paid too much for that. Overpaid the Far Side. Oh, and the Far Side, another note, you know, they stayed at what was the Holiday Inn by City Hall, and you know, they trashed the room. So,
no, what?
They're the Far Side.
Like, oh no, what?
Yeah. What? Anyways, but the next day, you know, I call the agent. And now, so Karen now picks up the phone because now in her eyes, I've done a show, I've paid them, I'm legit, right? I'm not that guy, and like I didn't stiff the act. She goes, hey, Johnathan. I'm like, hey, Kara. She's like, so I heard good things yesterday. They said you treated them really well. You know, like, how's the show? You know, like, are you just like that kind of stuff? So I was like, oh, it was great. Just one thing. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, they kind of like trashed the hotel room. And she's like, oh, that's not cool. She's like, okay, do me a favor. Go get a damage report from the hotel, fax it to me, and let me look into it.
Wow.
And she literally, you know, and she didn't have to do it. I mean, it was the right thing to do. But yeah, I sent her the damage report. I paid the hotel, and I sent it to. Go ahead. I sent it to her, and she's like, "Okay, I'm sending you a check for." It was like $1,500, right? Wow. And I was like, so that was a positive experience that I know not everybody has, but yeah, that was my very first show.
Yo, that's crazy, man. Like, just the way how you kind of just like stepped into this position and just like you just intuitively knew how to like connect, and just everything just seemed like it fell into place. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, part of it, like my brother helped me with the show. My sisters did the door.
Okay.
I had a huge guest list because that was sort of my way of saying, you know, this is who I am, this is my company, this is what I do. So I invited like anybody who was anybody, like DJs, writers. I gave them all guest lists. So I think I sold about 400 750 tickets. The Opera House holds at the time held 750 people, and then I probably had 150 people on the guest list, which was massive. But this was my way of saying, this is my company. It's called REMG, and so I invited writers and all that kind of stuff, so people can kind of understand and kind of get the vibe. And that's kind of, I think the next show I did was probably 3 or 4 months later, and then another one 3 or 4 months later, and then it just kind of snowballed to I think 94 or 95. I quit my job with the Ontario government and then started doing REMG full time.
Amazing. Oh my God, I'm so thankful you told that full story. Like I couldn't find it, John, but I have that poster too. That was one of the first post shows I ever saw, that Farsight show, and I got all 4 of them to sign it. I have it somewhere in my archives, and it's one of the greatest things out of all my hip hop memorabilia. And I have it worth.
And that was, so I can't remember exactly when, but that was the last show they ever did as a quad, as 4 of them. Oh. Because the next time when they toured on Lab Cabin, Fat Lip had left. So my next show was Trey, Imani, Booty, and that was it. No Fat Lip, right? And then that was like he never rejoined the band. So that was my only. So if you have all 4 of them, that's even more so a collector's item, because he never really toured with them after that.
It was one of the very first autographs I have. I even got I think the DJ's name was DJ Apollo, if I remember correctly. The DJ even signed it. And that was we tried to get this footage, but that was they did an interview right beside the Opera House in that stairwell. And it was one of the greatest Rap City interviews. They were crazy, and like we tried to get it for the show, but the footage is gone. But like I was at that show, so like I have to say to you, like I have been to, I don't know how to quantify it, but I've been to probably 75% of the shows I've been to in my life have been REMG shows. And I know.
And it's like what Logik was saying before I jumped on. It's like, most people were like, "Oh, is that your show?" And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you." But obviously, if and Logik, you can attest, like, if Addy's at your show, Addy's at your show, right? Because it's like he's right there. And not only is he right there, but he's like into the music. And Addy, I have to tell you something. I can't remember who it was, and I think it's happened a couple of times where, maybe you don't realize it, maybe you do. I don't know if anybody's ever told you, but that energy you give off is actually like it's infectious for the people around you. But on a couple of occasions, artists have said to me, "Yo, that fucking dude in the front, I locked eyes with him, and then I went." Because before I was kind of like just doing it, not phoning it in, but that kind of thing. And then when they're looking at you and you're rapping back to them, you're doing deep cuts. Like you're not doing singles back to them, like word for word. Yeah. That kind of like it energizes them. So just know that, and I know, and I can tell you, I promise you, artists have said that to me. I can't tell you who, I can't remember now for the life of me, but on more than one occasion, I'll be backstage after and I'm like, "How was it? How did it feel?" They were like, "Oh, it was good." And once or twice, maybe more than that, somebody's like, "Yo, there's this fucking dude in the front." I'm like, "What does he look like?" And they were like, I don't know at the time, I think you maybe still had your dress or whatever, but and a couple of times you had no shirt on, which was like a normal thing, I think, for Addy. But honestly, like just know that, and for me, it was the same thing. Like that was when I would see it, that would kind of like the energy you give off. So yes, I know you've been to a large portion of my shows.
Yeah, I mean, you have amazing taste. You just have great taste in music, dude. Like I'm just like no matter what. I mean, I am so thankful for like that full story. And I just wanted to say it perfectly connects because I just really quickly, I didn't know that because you actually kind of took the torch from Ron. And Ron was just like, I can't even carry this hip hop torch. Right. And that as a last show for Ron to do is insane. And that, like, what the artists you said are perfectly in 91. You said Chub Rock, Cypress Hill, and Fushnikins. Like, I'm like, that's so 1991. So for you to do a Farsight show in 92, you just ran with it perfect. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. So, and well, here's the thing, right? If, a couple of years later, and the business is so up and down, I had one of my sort of downs. And then I think to myself, it's like, fuck, now I know why Ron got out of this business. You know, like it's like, so if I knew then what I know now, but by that time I was so deep in it that I was like, I can't get out now. Like I quit my job with the government, you know, I that kind of thing. So which is fine. And, you know, now I'm glad I stayed in it, but same thing. And I didn't realize at the time, even like the work Ron had put into that show. Cause those, like now you see, you know, acts like bigger shows touring with like 4 or 5 acts, you know, like at arenas and stuff. That didn't exist back then. So Ron booked each one of those show acts separately and put them all together. And so he had to do, like for the Far Side, I had to do work times 1 act, right? Like bass is bass and all that, but I only had to take care of like a headliner and the rider. He had 7 guys. I mean, he had to book 7 groups of flights, 7 groups of hotels, 7 contracts, 7 riders, 7 airport pickups.
That's
then yeah, like and this is you're at the show and you got to worry about like you have friends doing stuff and you know all of that stuff, and it's insane to me. Like even to this day, if somebody said, "Hey, if you want to build a show that, you know, say at Rebel and let's book like 7 different acts," I'll be like, "Hell no." Like it's too much work. Like it just give me a tour where I'm dealing with 1 tour manager and he's taking care of the acts and they're all coming on 1 bus or 2 buses. But yeah, it's honestly like I tip my hat to Ron. It's like that's and to me that was my inspiration. I had no idea about, you know, like the in passing. And Ron did 1 or 2 other shows after that, but I found out that it wasn't, somebody had approached him and said, "Hey, will you help me do this?" And it was their money, and it wasn't truly a Ron production because Ron Nelson production back then were Ron's money, Ron's marketing, Ron's everything. And 1 or 2 of those shows didn't like ended badly, but it wasn't really Ron's doing. It was, you know, he had people doing. He was just sort of like the front for it. And so then when, you know, when there was no money to pay the artist, or when, you know, Ron was like, "Okay, you got to pay this guy," and then whoever the money guy was like, "Oh, we didn't sell enough tickets, I can't pay him." And Ron was like, you know, and then sadly it was Ron's name on the flyer. So, you know, but to me, the last Ron Nelson show in my mind was that show. And everybody, listen, I don't think he made money on that show. I can't remember, but everybody showed up. The show was fire. Think about that. All those acts, right? Think about if you have to have Pete Rock and CL Smooth and they're like the second act on stage, right? And I remember Errol told me the drama because it was Cypress had just started to like bubble, and they decided at the show that they didn't want to go on before Chub Rock. So Ron had to deal with that.
Oh man.
Right? Ron had to basically deal with this thing between like Chub and Cypress, and it ended up Cypress. I don't know how he made it work, but Chub Rock went on before Cypress, right? Which at the time was like, what? Now in hindsight, you know, they're Cypress Hill, but it was that time where, and they were still huge, right? But yeah, like that's, you know, these are all the things you have to deal with, right? You have to deal with people being late, and so.
We wanted to get into that for sure. Like, my God, I mean, Logik, do you want to ask the next question?
Well, you know, like there's so much. I just want to say real quick, like my first hip hop show that I ever been to was the Elemental series, and the first show was with Mathematic and Bahamadia. Now, you know, like that was like my first hip hop show. That was my first like introduction into like the Toronto hip hop scene, and it was from that show I knew I wanted in. I was like, I want to be part of this. You know, I remember like the power went out. You know, this was at the Comfort Zone. Like Comfort Zone doesn't even exist anymore. The power went out. It was like crazy hot, sweating. It was madness. But to me, it was just like hip hop. You know, so I just want to say like that was like my introduction. I'm glad that you continued. You know, put on events because you know that was a crazy experience. But speaking of like the Comfort Zone and venues that do not exist anymore, is there like a memorable venue that you can think of that doesn't, you know, exist anymore? Because like a lot has like shut down. You know, in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Comfort Zone, and I had this love-hate thing with the comfort zone because it was a shithole. Like it was, it's if you ever saw it with the lights on, you'd probably never come back, or you'd like go home and shower twice. So because it was like low ceilings, typical basement, poor circulation.
Smoky.
Like,
beer bottles, broken beer bottles.
Security guys, always sort of questionable.
Racist asses.
Put it this way, it wasn't made for live shows, right? Because it was sort of this sprawling venue. It wasn't like a box. The good venues are like big boxes, right? Where like the Phoenix and the Mod Club, where you get vantage points from everywhere. The Comfort Zone had those two side rooms to the left and right of the stage. Then they had that room at the back with a pool room, and then they had rails all around it, so you still couldn't see. So it was but I knew the guy that owned it. Dave was a good guy. He gave us a chance. He kind of helped us put that series together, and made it easier for us to do. The Reverb is a place I miss a lot.
Oh my God! Oh, what a sacred room!
The sound was phenomenal.
The sound was incredible. Again,
500.
and doing hip hop shows, we didn't get access to the nice rooms, right? Especially on weekends, right? Like that's really how. That's how this thing went about. I got the Opera House on a Monday back in June of '93 because they wouldn't give it to me on a Friday or a Saturday, right?
That's right.
Because too many problems. They don't drink. Whatever. Like it's that kind of stuff, right? And so all these things that I kind of find out after the fact, but that's really what we were dealing with. But then you get a room like the Reverb, which was not the nicest place. Like it was painted purple. And it just seemed like every time it was painted, it was because that paint was on sale and they just grabbed the cheapest can and just painted it. Old furniture, looked like it was Salvation Army
couches.
Furniture. So, and then like string lights from Canadian Tire, like Christmas lights, it was, but at the end of the day, it was a nice square room.
Yeah.
The sound system was old, but it was good.
It was
powerful.
Solid. Yeah.
And do you remember no backstage? Like there was no backstage. You walked on from the sides onto the stage. Like the dressing room was up in the corner in another sort of room. But Dominic, the guy that owned it, he was good to us. We did a lot of shows there, and this was before Mod Club, and so a lot of our popping shows, it was like 500, 600 people it held, were there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So that was that. So that place I miss. I miss the Cool House.
Oh yeah. Was good.
Like, it's one of those things where you don't, if somebody said if the Reverb closed, if 10 years ago, if somebody says, "Oh, the Reverb's closing," I'd be like, "Oh, good riddance," because at the time you take it for granted. Right. Now I'm like, oh, like some of my best shows were in that room.
Absolutely, yeah, and the accessibility of it was amazing. There were so many like wild nights, horrible nights. I was there the night where the shooting happened downstairs in the Big Bop. That was a fucked up night. I remember when Fifi Dobson, I had a party the same day that Fifi Dobson had a party downstairs, and remember Holy Joe's, the little tiny room.
Yeah, that was the room. That was the room we used as a dressing room when we did shows at the Reverb. And I'll tell you a quick Holy Joe's story.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, they had one of those massive TVs in Holy Joe's, right? It's like back when big TVs were like they weren't thin; they were huge pieces of furniture. And we were doing a Raekwon show, and
who's that?
So Raekwon's there, and he's in the back, and he's kind of chilling. And it's time to go on, and the place is full, and people are like Raekwon, and this guy is watching The Godfather because it was on A&E or something like that, right? And would not leave, and I was talking to his manager, it was his brother, and I'm like, yo, like, can you hear this? People are like fucking starting to tear shit up there. And he's like, I know. And he go talk to Ray, and Ray was like, and Ray watched. Thank God we were about, 3/4 of the way through the movie, but he literally had to watch it to the end. And the minute it ended, they took him on stage, but because he was watching The Godfather on that godforsaken massive TV, because of course, he's Raekwon. You know, the whole, you know, the Wu, the Gambino
Wu
stuff.
Gambino. He's like, I'm a Wu Gambino for life. Every time The Godfather's on, we watch it.
Yeah, I was like, I felt like saying to him, like, yo, how many times have you seen this movie? It always ends the same. But nope, wasn't happening. So it was fine. But I think he was an hour late to get on stage because of that.
Thank you for sharing that. Oh my God!
Wu-Tang forever, yo.
I mean, yo, I that actually, if we can go into this one, because it was one of the greatest moments, and also we can pay tribute to one of our fallen spirits. But when you brought MF Doom to the one time, like, I was very aware that he was bringing out fake clones, the Doom posters. Yeah. And I was like, yo, you can't do that in Toronto. Do you know what Toronto crowds are like? I'm like, man, Doom, this is a perfect city for you. This is like, we have fans of your music here. You'll do great here. But don't fuck with the audience, because the audience here is vicious and they don't like little jokes or whatever. Don't bring out a fake Doom. So when he actually came out and there was the fake Doom, I was like, oh, this is Toronto Armageddon. I'm scared. This is and then the real one came out, and it was one of the most satisfying moments of my life to see them both. And I was like, Johnathan made a miracle happen here. So I heard it was really tough for you. Like what like how hard was that?
Well, and let me tell you before I think there's also an Addy part to the story, because
what?
You're in the front, right?
Yeah.
He comes when he really, really comes out. I'm watching you, because the minute and because I'm like, I know it's him. Yeah. I didn't know he was going to send out an imposter. That's a whole other Doom situation. So when you came out, and I was either watching you or I was in the pit. I think I was in the pit, sitting on the barricade, and you were right beside me. And you looked over and you're like, it's fucking him. It's like, to me, that was kind of like my little exhale moment, because you were one of the first ones to be like, it's him. Like, it's legit him.
Right.
Wow.
And then the whole place kind of was like, they all that realization sort of crept across everybody.
Right.
And then literally in the span of like a minute, when he actually took the stage, everybody was like, it's him. All right. And but I literally was like looking at you, and when you were like, yo, and you actually said it to me. I think I was in the pit watching, because you said, you're like, yo, it's him. I can't believe it's him. So yeah.
I'm getting a flashback of that now, man. Wow. Oh my God, John,
it's epic.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was miraculous though, because so many cities got punked off. And I was like, man, you can't do that here. I'll give you the backstory. I'm trying to figure out how to do it without making it super long-winded, but I mean, it's a convoluted story. But so I get a call from a friend of mine who's an agent, and he's like, yo, I got this tour going out. I'm like, sure, whatever. What is it? He's like, Mos Def and MF Doom. And I'm like, no. He's like, yeah. He goes, but it's literally only like a handful of cities, because they're both legit. And what had happened was, and I don't know if you remember this, but I can't remember where I saw it, but it all came out of this session where Mos was in the studio and somebody was playing Doom, and this guy proceeded to rap like full songs, word for word. And it kind of went viral, and people were just like, yo, this guy's like, That's right.
So, and I don't know how the whole thing happened anyway. So I get the call. I'm like, whatever, sure. Yeah. Just like, I don't know how much. Sure. And we do it. And it was so sort of like put together. It was us, Chicago, New York, I think, or Chicago, us, New York. And it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, so, are we confirmed? Yes, we're confirmed. And the show was supposed to be in late January, maybe. No, it was supposed to be in November. I can't remember the year. It was supposed to be in November. And I was like, okay, so send me artwork. The guy's like, I just make some artwork, because that's how like ghetto it was. Most Moses' brother managed him, so that wasn't really legit and professional. Doom is Doom. You know, this guy named Ben managed him, Ben Grimm. You know, so it wasn't like, you know, Ben. So, and I'm like, okay. So me being the nerd, I was like, oh, this is nice. I call Noel Dix.
Wow.
Noel, DJ Numeric. So Noel, who did a lot of our artwork, right? And I'm like, yo, I got this crazy show. And he was like, and I'm like, I want to do some crazy artwork, but I want it to be true because I can do my own artwork now. Because normally you don't get to do your own artwork. They send you the tour artwork, which is called the ad mat. And all I do is I add the city, the venue, my logo, and any local information. But typically for any tours, not just hip hop, the artwork you see in that city is the same for the entire tour, right?
Right.
Because it uses current pictures, relevant to the album, to the tour, all that kind of stuff, right?
That's right. Yes, marketing.
So Noel's like, yo, I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, let me. He hits me back, and he talked to, and I can't remember his name. He is an illustrator, and do you remember? I can't remember his name, but he used to do these posters you would buy, and he would illustrate all the MCs that
Kagan McLeod. Kagan McLeod. I got that poster on my wall right here. Like, you need that one?
That's the one. I have that. So he calls Kagan. Kagan's like, hell yeah. And there's no like, these are artwork. There's no great budgets to do that. So Kagan does that poster you saw, which is an illustrated Mos and an illustrated Doom, like King Kong style, walking through Toronto. Like I think Doom has his arm around the CN Tower. You know, and I'm like this, and he did it all like a comic book, right? Right. He sends the illustration to Noel. Noel does all the artwork, puts it in place, and sends it to me. I'm like, oh my god! And this is all like epic. So I send the agent. I said, take a look at this, get it approved, and we're going to use it. He's like, this is insane. And then he's like, can I use this for the other parts of the tour? And I'm like,
oh shit.
I said, I don't know, but here's Noel's information. Call him. Right? Because I'm like, and I called Noel. I said, listen, you know, you shouldn't be, I'm paying you for it, and you great, this is a fanboy thing, but get money. So I'm putting you onto this guy, and, you know, like, this is legit business. So I don't know if that happened or whatever, but anyways, so we announced the show. This is probably in September or October, and the show sells out.
Crazy.
And so this is amazing. I'm like, oh, and then you fast forward a week before, and something happens, and their schedules are wonky. And I get a call from Johnathan, like, we got to push the show back. And I'm like, you know, because a lot of people, even though most stuff is on it, a lot of people are like, yeah, Doom, sure, whatever.
Right.
You know, like, it's not. But a lot of people took stock in the fact that it was Mos Def, and that's what I did, because I would never do a Doom show by itself, right? But like, it's Mos, who's like a fan, and he wasn't even doing this for legit money for him. He could have done that business on his own. He was doing it because he got to tour with his hero. Anyways, scheduling happened. They're like, no, it's fine. Let's just wait. So pick a new date. It's in February. Chicago on the 1 week. Toronto on the week after, because they're all doing their own thing. So they kind of fly into a city, do the show, fly out, go back to doing whatever they're doing, and then go to the next city the next day. It wasn't like a routed tour where they're like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? On a bus. So legit February, you know, we tell people the date's changed. You can get a refund if you want. Nobody got a refund. And then the week before the show, they're in Chicago. And I see, I don't know, maybe it was Twitter. I don't know if there was Instagram back then, but the Chicago thing happened where people were like, yo, it wasn't Doom.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. I remember.
And so it was just like a shit show. And I remember, who was it? Was it, what's his name that runs Fake Shore Drive?
Andrew? What?
Yes. Andrew Barber.
Andrew Barber, yeah.
Yeah. And like, I remember reading his tweet of it, like, yo, it wasn't him. And Mos was there. So then the next day, Mos' brother calls me. He goes, yo, and him and I kind of like, we talked, and everything was fine. Another thing I should tell you, that 3 weeks before the show, the agent who I booked it with, pulled out. He was like,
"Oh my god,
long story. I can't deal with these guys. I'm out."
What?
He's like, he goes, "Here's Moses' brother's name. Here's Ben's information. If you want to do the show, they still want to do the show. You have to call them and do it directly with them." I'm like,
wow.
Sure. So I called Ben. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know, but like, let's go, bro. Let's do the show." Same with Moses' brother. So the Sunday after the Chicago show, Moses' brother calls me, and he was like, "Yo, like, this has got nothing to do with you, but we can't do the show." And he told me the whole story. And so I'm like, I get it. That's kind of, but he goes, "It's up to you what you want to do. I'll send you your deposit back. All good." Then I call Ben. I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And he was like, "I don't know what they're going on about. That was Doom." And I'm like, "Dude, come on." And he was like, "No, man." He goes, "We're good. Don't worry. We're going to be there. And, you still got a show. It's up to you." He's like, "I'm not canceling the show. So if you want to cancel, I can't send you your deposit back."
What?
And I said, he goes, "But Doom's down because we don't control Mos Def. And my contract with you says Doom, and you're getting Doom." So I'm like, we then have to announce, and I think the story was, Mos' brother told me that they get to Chicago and they do sound check, and Ben goes to the venue and says, "Yo, Doom's not feeling well, but he's just going to rest. He'll be fine for the show." So Mos does sound check, goes back to the hotel. The show's supposed to be at 10 o'clock, and Mos gets to the venue, like, say 9:30. I'm making that part up because I don't know the exact times, and there's no Doom. And so he's like, "Fuck." So they called, they put no answer. 5 minutes before they're supposed to go on stage, Doom calls and says, "Yo, I'm on my way. Just start. And just because I don't want to fuck the promoter over, just start the show, and I'll just, do this song and this song." Like, Doom, they're going to do Mos Def songs. Because the show was, Mos was going to do some Mos Def catalog, and then he was going to start doing Doom catalog, and maybe even come out in the mask. Mos was going to be the imposter, and then Doom was going to come out, and they were going to do Doom stuff together, right? So this was like the fanboy in me.
Yes.
So here we are. It's like 10 o'clock in Chicago. I'm getting all this information the next day. So Mos is like, "This is fucked up," but whatever, sure. Runs on stage, starts doing the music, starts doing the show. Halfway through the show, Doom comes out, and they do the show. And then right before the end of the show, Doom's like, "All right, peace, good night," and leaves the stage. Gets in the van and leaves the venue. Mos is still on stage. And by now, Mos Def has realized that wasn't Doom. And now he feels like, now he's pissed. Right? So he gets off stage and he talks, he's like, "Yo, it's fucked up." He's like, "Yo," calls Doom, and Doom's like, "What are you talking about, man? It was me. I'm still feeling sick. That's why I'm sorry I didn't stick around." And he was like, fuck. And so Mos is like, "I can't be." And by then people are booing because people knew it wasn't Doom in Chicago. So they legit were like, "Fuck this." And now, guess who looks complicit? Mos, right? Mos now is like, they're like, "Fuck you, Doom did this to us, you did this to us." So he's taking a beating the next day, right? Like on Twitter.
Right.
So and he called and he was like, "Yo, this guy's gonna do it again." And he's like, "Fuck him, I'm out." And so I couldn't do anything, and they were like, "I'll give you your money back." I'm like, okay. So now I have half a show. We have to announce that, say, due to circumstances, blah, 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 Mos cannot make it. Doom's still going to make it. If you want to hold on to your ticket, if you want to do the show, if you want to come to the show, if you don't, we'll give you a refund. Literally, out of 2,500 tickets, more than half of the people refunded their money. Because
really?
Because two things. Mos wasn't coming, and they heard about Chicago.
Right. So
and Mos was their sort of like assurance that Doom would show up.
Right.
So
I can see that. Yeah.
So fast forward to the next week, I'm like, and Ben is like, "Yo, bro, trust me, don't worry, all this stuff." And so I'm like, okay, cool. So I go to the airport. I pick Ben up. I'm like, yo, where's Doom? He's like, oh no. He goes, I fly in from Detroit or wherever. Doom lives in Atlanta. He's coming. I'm like, when? He's like, oh, like I'll. So we go to the venue. We go to the Cool House. It's February. It's cold. Lots of snow outside. And so he does sound check, and then I'm like, yo, we got to talk. And I'm like, he's like, what's up? I'm like, this is not how I operate. I'm like, I can't do this, right? And he's like, trust me. I said, yo, I'm not calling you a liar, but I'm like, I'm covering my ass. What are we gonna do? Because as of right now, I've just canceled the show, right? Because I'm like, we do not, as a rule, I do not put artists on stage until I know they're in the country, right? If you're stuck in immigration, I'll hold doors till you get out, because it's happened to me a couple of times. So, but if I know you're not legitimately out of the airport, I'm not opening doors, right? Wow. He's like, no, trust me. Da, da, da. He was like, I said, when's he landing? He's like, he's landing at 8 o'clock. I'm like, doors are at 8. And he's like, what do you want me to do? So Ben then says, here, gives me his passport. He goes, see, I'm trusting you. If he's not here, you don't give me the passport back, I'm stuck in Canada. I got family, so I can't be stuck in Canada. So I'm like, okay. So then I pay, and I said, he goes, and this is around 5 o'clock, and Doom's plane doesn't leave till like 5:30. He goes, but here's the other thing, you got to pay me now, otherwise Doom's not getting on the plane.
What?
And when I had the money, and then he's like, one second, he calls Doom, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yo, listen, I hate to do this to you, but Doom wants another $5,000. Right?
Oh, wow.
And I think I was paying him $20,000 at the time, 20 or 15 grand. And I'm like, yo, that's not cool. He's like, dude, I know. He goes, I know, but it's not me. It's like, I literally like, but it's up to you. I get it if you don't want to do it. Just let me know. Right? So I'm thinking to myself, I probably won't get my deposit back if I do this. I said, fine. So I give him the balance and another $5,000. And Doom gets on the plane. So at this point now I'm like, fuck, it's crazy. And I said, listen, and the other part of what they do is we as a promoter, we have to provide what they call ground transportation, which is, an SUV. We drive them around the city, right? We pick them up at the airport, that kind of stuff. In this case, Ben rents his own SUV and he does the driving. He doesn't let the promoter do it. Right? And there's a process to this. You'll understand. So I said, yo,
really?
I can't. I said, yo, I am not sitting here while you're at the airport waiting to hear from you. He goes, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. Let me come with you. He's like, no, you can't come with me. If Doom sees you, he'll get back on the plane and leave. He goes, tell you what? You can go to the airport and you can wait for him with me. You can't be with me, but you could do that. So I tell my partner at the time, Jeff Brandman, I'm like, okay, you hold it down here at the Cool House. I'm going to go to the airport. And then I'll text you. And when I know it's him, you can open doors. Right? So now there's a snowstorm brewing. It's now like, so Ben leaves, goes. So I'm like, okay. So the other problem is I don't really know what Doom looks like. I don't know what Daniel Dumoulin looks like.
Yeah,
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I have an idea. But if it's an imposter that kind of looks like him, so I'm like,
yeah.
And I remember. So then during the day, RC calls me about, yo, is this happening? What's going on? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah. I kind of tell him what's up. And I'm like, no. He goes, who knows what he looks like? And I'm like, who? He's like Asics. You know Asics?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Asics. He's like, Asics knows what he looks like. And I'm like, why? He's like, he met him in Buffalo years ago. Like, met him, no mask. I'm like, for real? I call Asics. And he's like, and Ace lived they used to live with Chaos and man, what's his name? From 416.
K Wonder.
K Wonder, but also 416 Snack Bar. He owns it. Anyways, Adrian.
That's right. Fuck.
So they all lived together in a house at the end of Maud Street where my office was, right? On Adelaide. On Richmond.
Yo.
And so, anyways, so I'm like, I call A6 and I tell him the story, and I'm like, RC said, you know what he looks like? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, dude, that was like 7 years ago. He goes, dude, I know his face. So what had happened was Ace and a bunch of people drove to Buffalo because Doom was playing at a club in Buffalo. And these guys being the guys they are, they were like, fuck it, let's go. Road trip. They go, they do the show. And then after the show, they're all out front. I think somebody's having a cigarette or whatever. A6 looks up and he can see the side of the building from where he is. And he sees a dude in the side and he's like, yo, I think that's him. So he goes over to this guy and he was like, yo, Doom. And the guy's like, what's up? So, man, I just want to tell you, yo, you should, I'm a big fan, got it from this record and this record. And Doom's like, oh, cool, man. Yeah. So, and it's him, right? He was at the side at the stage door without his mask, having a cigarette, thought nobody would see him, or if they saw him, they wouldn't recognize him. But A6 being A6, he was like, yeah. So that was burned into his head. So he tells me the story. I said, dude, this is fucked up, but I got a mission. I need you to come to the airport. I need you to come to the airport with me. And he's like, let's go. I'm down.
Right? Wow.
So 8:30, we go to the airport, right? Just him and I. I drive. Now it's starting to snow. Already a line up at the Cool House, right?
Wow.
We're not letting anybody in. The plane lands at 8:30. I go into the terminal. It's kind of bare, and I walk up to Ben, and Ben's doing this, looking at the monitors, right, with the flight times.
Mm-hmm.
He looks at me. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm waiting for Doom." He goes, "Yo, you can't be here. Not with me." He goes, "Go wait over there." He's like, "If he comes out of those gates and see me talking to you, he's gonna turn around and go back." I'm like, "Oh,
what?"
Like, yeah. So fine. So I go to the and wow. I go to like the back of the terminal where I can see Ben, you know, in my peripheral to the right, and directly in front of me across the terminal are the sliding doors, right, to let people out as they come out of immigration. And I can't see shit from there, so I send A6. A6 goes right up because when you come out, you can go left and right, right? Like there's a rail.
Yeah.
Wait.
Right.
I send A6 right up to the rail and do this, right? So he's like literally like 4 feet from the sliding door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, if he comes out, all you need to do is just do this. You know, like what does he do? Like it's like just do this. Or he does like he's like, do it so I can like right? So I know. Like I'm not gonna run up there, you don't have to yell, yo, it's Doom. So it's now like 9 o'clock. And I'm like, where is this guy? And you know, it's like every time the door opens, you're like,
oh, I know, man.
And then
suspense.
And so Jeff, my partner's texting me, is like, yo, what's going on? There's people, they're getting antsy. And I'm like, yo, I'm waiting. And I'm like, maybe he's here and he could get stuck in immigration. Like it could be because his situation, right? With he's a UK
with
citizen.
England.
He's a UK citizen. I don't know what his status was in England, but I think he was there. Right. He was in the thing illegally. So yeah, I was like, what the hell? So people are coming off the plane, and then the exit is getting thinner and thinner. Like first when the plane landed, 10 people at a time coming through the gate,
right.
Like, not him. And all of a sudden, like one guy comes through the gate, and it's a dude who's solo, who's black, and then all I see from Ace. Now this is me behind him, way across the terminal. One guy comes out and he's like, doesn't even look at me. I'm looking at the back of his head. He's like, so I'm like, okay. And Ben is still waiting. I can see Ben. He's still waiting, right? What the fuck? And I go near Ben, and he's like, what's up? And I'm like, dude. He's like, he'll be there. Trust me. He was like, go back and wait.
Trust me.
So my guys, Jeff's blowing up my phone because, security at the Cool House is like, yo, what the fuck? These kids are going to like riot.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was tense.
At about, I'd say 9:30 or 9:45, right? And at this point now, there hasn't been anybody through those doors for a good 10 minutes. I'm thinking to myself, the plane's empty. Like, what the fuck are we still doing here?
Yeah.
But I can still see Ben, so I'm like, okay, if he's here, I'm here. And like, I don't know what the time was. It must have been about 9:30 or 9:45. This guy rolls through, and literally all I see from Ace is, like, he puts his hand behind him, and he does this subtly, right?
Subtly, like.
So then he comes over to me, right? And I see Doom walk over to Ben, exchange daps, and then they go. Ace comes on. I'm like, yo, like, he's like, Ramos, it's 100% him. 100% it's him. I'm like, we're good. I called Jeff. I'm like, he's here. They open doors, right? So then I text Ben. He's like, see, I told you. I said, okay, I'm heading back to the venue. Just, like, let's go. There's a lineup. We got to get him on stage. He's like, bet. I go back to the venue, and now it's got a full-on snowstorm, full-on blizzard.
Oh my god!
I get back to the venue. It's like 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock, and I'm like, okay. Text him, like, where are you? He's like, yo, he wanted to check into the hotel first. I'm like, and they're staying at a hotel by the airport, right?
Oh gosh!
Oh
man! Like, in a snowstorm.
I'm like, what the fuck? You're staying by, like. And he was, don't worry. And Ben's always like, yo, don't worry. It'll be fine. Great.
Trust me.
So 10:30, like, Ben, where the fuck are you? We're leaving the hotel now. 11 o'clock, Ben, where are you? We had to stop and get gas.
What? Oh!
And like, no sense of urgency, right? Meanwhile, who was? Oh, the guys from Mixtape Massacre. I think who was playing? Was it the Mixtape Massacre guys that were spinning? That were playing that night.
It wasn't New. Yeah, I mostly just remember Doom because everything else just blurred out because I just couldn't.
When I get to the venue, I see people, and they're kind of scattered around the fringe. People lean up at the bar, the Cool House. Right. A bunch of people are at the barricade and stuff, but people are kind of scattered. And I still don't know how many people we're expecting, right? Because I know we refunded about 1,000 tickets, but who knows? And now it's a snowstorm, and I'm sure people were in line and said fuck this and left before doors open. So, but we told people, like, once you come in and we scan your ticket, you're in. There's no refund.
Right.
And they're like, no, but he's here. We're like, he's here. So at about 11 o'clock or 11:30, people start to boo. And then they start to throw shit on stage.
Yeah.
And the guys are like, at this point now, I'm like, it's not really fair to them. They've been playing for almost like 3 hours. It's not really fair to them to go, oh, keep playing, and to take that bullshit. So I'm like, I'm so on edge. I'm like, fuck this. I go up. I told those guys, I'm like, that's fine, pack it up. I'll take care of it. And I literally is the closest I ever came to losing my temper in public. But I'm like, yo, Doom's here. I saw him, legit. And people are booing. I'm like, what the fuck do you think?
Yeah.
You know how he is. And I remember saying this. I'm like, you know how he is, but just sit tight and he'll be here. And so and then it was quiet at the show. Like, no music. We turned the music off, and then it was just people waiting. This clown pulls up at probably like 11:45 now, right? We open doors at 9-ish, right?
Uh-huh.
This clown, and they get in and they go dress in the dressing room. Ben's like, okay, don't worry, got this. So Ben goes on stage, starts the music. I go out to the barricade to watch, right? And then the music starts. People kind of come to the barricade, and the show starts. And I didn't know this, but an imposter comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And people are talking about it. And I'm like, fuck? And
so it wasn't Ben? It was like a random third person that they...
Yes. I think Ben was a DJ. Ben was DJing. I can't remember. But it didn't even look like him. Because Doom, the height, he's kind of tiny. And he had a massive gut, though. Right?
Yeah.
He had kind of like a massive gut at the time. So you could even physically, his profile, you could tell if you really knew Doom. And he always wore the same oversized polo shirt, right? Mad baggy, polo shirt down to his knees.
Right.
And then I'm like, what in the entire fuck?
All of that.
People are booing.
Yeah.
And I'm about to get up and go back there and be like, what the fuck are you doing? And then he comes out.
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's when I looked at you, and you're like, yo, I can't believe it's him. He does the show. The show is weak as hell. The show was like maybe 30 minutes, and that was it. And I'm still like, I'm beyond pissed, but at some point I'm like, I just got to see this thing through, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and I've got all these things I want to say to Doom after the fact, all these, like, I'm just like up to here, but I'm just happy the show's done and it was him, right? So I did as much as I could. I did my job,
right?
With everything that I could control. I accomplished what I set out to do, and so I'm in the production office. Ben comes in and he's like, "So," and I gave him back his passport. I regret doing it, but I gave him back his passport. And he's like, "Yo, come with me." Takes me into the dressing room of the Cool House, closes the door, and then there's Doom in front of me. He's like, "Yo, Doom, this is Ramos. This is our guy." And Doom comes, gives me a big hug, goes, "Yo, man, I don't know what the fuck Most was on about. I'm really sorry you had to deal with that. And sorry about the flight delays and all that stuff. But yo, you're my guy." And I'm like, "Cool." He's like, "No, man, you're my guy. Anything you need, I got you. You're my guy." And I'm like, there's nothing he can say to me at this point, except here's 10. Don't forget, he's overcharged me as well, right? And I'm like, cool. And I should have been more enthusiastic, but I just couldn't. I didn't have it in me. It was all I could do not to lose my shit and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
So I walked out, and then I just went home. And I had all these ideas in my head about, I can call some people, I can go get that money back because now the show's done. Or I can do this, or why did I give him the passport back? I was just like, it is what it is. And yeah, and that was it. And that was my Doom experience, and
wow, man.
and then the sort of, what are we looking at? The final chapter of this is I never ever got my money back from Most Def.
That Most Def money for that show?
The deposit that his brother said he would return to me?
Yeah.
Never got that back.
So I call him on the day after, and he was like, "So what happened?" I'm like, "Yo, it was him." He was like, "Get the fuck out of here." I'm like, "No, legit, it was him." He's like, "That's fucked up." And I'm like, "Anyways, it is what it is. I'm done. Let me know about this deposit." He's like, "Bet." Okay, he goes, "I'm on the road with Most right now. I'll be home on Tuesday. I'll wire it back to you." Cool. Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday, nothing. Thursday, nothing. Excuse me. I call him back, and I'm like, he was like, he picks up the phone. I'm like, "Bro, it's been like a week now since you said you were." He's like, "My bad. I got my mom's sick," or this, and that kind of stuff. And this went on for like a month. Like every 10 days I would call him, like, "What the hell?" And after that, he just stopped answering the phone.
What?
That's crazy.
And, yeah. And that was it. And then I sent him the scathing 3-paragraph email. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is not cool, and da-da-da-da. And then he replies like, "Yo, bro, why? Like, watch how you," some shit like that. And, da-da-da. And I'm like, fuck out of here. I don't care. So we sued him. Right?
Okay.
I remember it was on TMZ. Toronto promoter sues Most Def. We couldn't actually go through with it because we had to serve him. And we had a guy in New York, a sheriff who serves notices. We just couldn't find him. Went to his house, talked to his mom. His mom was like, "He doesn't live here. I don't know where he is." And at that point, it's like, I could just keep spending money trying to find this guy, or just walk away, and I just walked away.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck.
So that was that. Yeah, honestly, like that was the it's And when people talk about, "Oh, you did a Doom show," I'm like, yeah, not my my proudest moment, but I did it. And like we went, and I remember who I can't remember who the mixtape master guys was like, "Yo, do you want to come on the show on Saturday and talk about it?" I'm like, "Yeah," because a lot of people, the knee-jerk reaction is to blame the promoter.
Of course,
yeah.
And sometimes that's, especially back in the day, that was literal. Sometimes that was legit.
Yeah.
But for me, and literally I think it was like that whole part of that show was like an hour where I kind of explained. I didn't go into that detail that I just told you guys about, but I just said, like, Like it was him. And I didn't go into, most staff owes me money, and I didn't that Doom jacked me at the last minute for extra dough. I just told them about like the sort of experience. So people.
Oh, you went mute.
Your voice. Muted. You're muted.
There we go.
Yeah, thanks.
Your pods just died. But yeah, I didn't go into the detail I just went into with you guys. But it literally, all I want to do was salvage my name. Right? It was like, this is what we did, and I went above and beyond. And I know most promoters wouldn't do this much, but to me, it was to cover my ass, to do what I set out to do, but also so I didn't lose even more money. Right? So yeah, we lost a lot of money on that show.
Oh man!
Wow.
So my Doom thing is, it's a love-hate, because Doom the artist, inarguable, talented, like Doom the person, businessman. To this day, I don't understand what his reasoning is beyond. Everybody's got theories, right? That this is this is the art in its art form. This is, people can explain it away, but at the end of the day, it's like, if it is art, then tell me, because I'm helping pay for your art. Right. So, but yeah, that's my kind of Doom thing where, yes, super talented. And they always say, don't meet your heroes. Well, if anybody says that to me, I'm like, yeah, legit. I'll tell you why. So, but I mean, one show out of, hundreds. So.
Yo. I mean, are most of the artists good to work with when you meet them in person?
Yeah. I mean, you learn very quickly. Like, I don't actually meet a lot of artists now. Like, if I want to, I'll make a point to do it, right? Go to the dressing room or ask the tour manager. But the line of communication usually goes at a show usually goes from me to my production manager to the tour manager to the artist. I don't. Okay. You'll break the chain of communication if you go directly to the artist. I rarely do it unless there's a reason to. But for the most part, I learned a long time ago that artists are just people, right? So I've had bad experiences with artists where I'm like, that guy's a dick. And I'm like, I just paid him money and done it. Like, why is he being a dick? Yeah. And then you kind of realize that, you don't know what's going on with him, right? This is a guy who's been away from home, maybe for 2 months, maybe more, in a bus, which is, people glamorize tour buses, but they're awful places, right? They're tiny, they're cramped. You go to bed late, you get up early, you can't sleep properly because it's not your bed. They're like, when you get a lot of people on a bus, it starts to smell real quick. You're eating garbage because that's just, you can't get your routine. So some days you just have bad days, right? And if I catch an artist on a bad day, I don't be like, yo, my name's Johnathan Promoter. And I never had an artist like, yo, fuck you. Right. I just sometimes get the, move on. Or I get that and move on. Right. And then, so that's kind of how I explain it away. Right. That's kind of how I rationalize it, which is legitimate. Like, you might catch me walking down the street on a bad day if you don't know me. And I don't know, maybe I just had some bad news, maybe whatever. My wife and I just got in an argument. And maybe I'm not that guy that'd be like, oh, if somebody comes like, yo, you're Ramos, and I'm like, most of the time I love when people say that to me because it's affirming. But maybe there's a day where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I keep it moving, which is not cool, but maybe I'm just in my head, right? We all have those days. So, but I will say 9 times out of 10, they're good people to work with. And their people are good people to work with. Yes, they're late sometimes. Yes, sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but yeah, and for the most part, it's it's like a pleasure working with a lot of them. And there's a bunch of them that I have worked with repeatedly. That it's nice.
The Roots,
yeah, the Roots. I think Nas as well is another artist who's come here a couple of times.
Yeah,
and that kind of goes in. I know we're going to wrap up soon, but that kind of goes into like, I guess, like, what do you think makes like Toronto such a great place to throw concerts? Because as you said, like, certain artists have come back here. It kind of feels like Toronto's like this like testing ground or something like that. So like, what is your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's what I think beyond shows and what's make Toronto. Like, we are super diverse. We're like, it's you know, and you don't, and we're in a, and it's not true for every part of the city, or it's not true for. Let me give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
But the second show I ever did was with Lords of the Underground.
Right? Okay, that's what's up.
So I did it at Spectrum. This was like late '93. Anyways, these guys were all like university grads, right? They'd been around. They weren't just like, you know, hood guys who had never left the hood, now are like blowing up. So I'm driving them. And back then, when you got an artist in a town, you would take them around, so people could see they're actually here.
Right.
But in some cases, like I would bring artists to 2 black guys, right? And Adrian would lace them, or I'd bring them to 100 miles, and Gary would like lace them with gear. And it was free shit for them, but it was also good for the brands because they would wear it on stage, maybe in a video, maybe in a shoot, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm driving Lords of the Underground, pick them up at the airport. We're driving, I think we're on our way to 100 miles. And they're looking around, they're like, yo, Toronto's legit. And I'm like, and one of the guys, like, I think Do It All taps Jazz, who's a DJ, and he was like, yo. And they point, and there was a group of people, I think it was around U of T, but it was all mixed. There was like some black dudes hanging with some Asian people and an Indian guy in the mix, and they were just like, and it was distinctive enough that they pointed it out. I'm like, what's up? They're like, see that? You don't see that shit. They're from Jersey. You don't see that.
Oh,
wow.
And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yo,
like regular.
Black people stay with black people in the black neighborhood. White people stay, you know, wherever the suburbs. Asian people stay, you know. And I was like, wow. And then they were looking at it from almost like an anthropological standpoint, where this was, you know, and to me, that's Toronto. And that's definitely not all Toronto. Toronto's got a lot of problems, a lot of race problems, but it's just such a melting pot of people. And part of it is, you know, artists who haven't traveled don't actually expect it, right? They don't, you know, especially if they haven't left the US. But to me, that's what it is. And then with that influence, with that mix comes the influences, right? So, you know, back in the day when I started, it was the West Indian thing, right? And that influence of music, and you know, you would go to parties, just like, you know, when I went to that jam with Bass is Bass, it's like Paulie Lopez is playing like breaks, not necessarily hip hop, and there's guys rapping, and it's just this sort of mix of people. And then, you know, as in the last decade, it's been, you know, like, you know, a lot of like Africans, and that kind of brings it, and that kind of makes it even more diverse. And I think that's what people see. And my shows were like that. I would like see, like, you know, Chinese kids, of course, black kids, white kids, you know, like, you know, brown kids,
indeed,
everybody. And I didn't realize this, but people wouldn't really see that at their shows. Like, it's some people, if you played Boston, it was mostly white people. If you played certain clubs in Boston, you know, there would be more black people there. And New York, and if you played urban centers, and like, you know, that it was sort of like they were just surprised, and they love that. And then the other part of it is people's passion for music, right? Like they get on that stage, and of course there's Addy, right? But Addy, you know, at some of these shows, like they'd come out and the entire place is rhyming back to them. And you could, and especially the younger artists who had just started, you know, just had a new banger, or they weren't seasoned yet. They'd come out and they'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, like when Little Brother came. Little Brother, there's certain groups who are like, I fucking love coming on tour to Toronto. They treat me good. The promoters are good. The venues are good. We get good money. It's the turnout. Everyone loves the fucking music. It's not like a poser show. It's like there's no violence at the show. And I'm like, I remember one year I saw Killer Mike 5 times in the year, and Killer Mike's like, I love coming back to Toronto. But like Little Brother was a total Toronto group, and they're like, we fucking love it here. We're not from this, but we try to come here. There's quite a few groups who just were exactly like that, man.
Well, like a little, and I was blessed because a lot of the acts I dealt with were sort of like people, depending on, I don't know how you call it, but they weren't like, it wasn't club music, right? They were like, it was like, you know, Little Brother and the Roots and Nas and Dilated and J5 and Dilated, you know, like all of and Quali and Common,
so much quality.
And that those that's not a Toronto sound per se, but in terms of like people that like consume music and go to concerts, that was a Toronto sound, right?
That
like,
yeah.
Like
for sure.
all the, and I'll call it legit, all the that OK Player lane, right?
Yes.
Even like Erica and Jill Scott and D'Angelo, and you know, like there was a time where for me, I just got lucky doing shows in that what I consider my golden era of those acts, right? That were like, and people weren't there for like, nobody came, you know, if you did, you know, acts who had club bangers, people came and it was more club stuff, or they came to talk to girls, or, you know, like,
true.
When these concerts, people came for the concerts, like whatever bullshit was happening when the show started, that was it.
True.
Bar locked off, like people were like there. Like I remember talking about the Reverb, I think one of my first Quali shows, right? And you know, just the now what the hell? What's the song called? What's the Kanye song?
Get By?
Get By?
Get By.
Which one?
Like to me, I get my hairs on my arms stand up just talking about it. Like when he came, and I think he opened a show at the Reverb with that, and it was sold out. And you know, the Reverb just got like, you know, like legit packed, and people were like, "Yo!" Just when he started, and people rapped the whole song with him, and that was such a fairly small room that the energy was contained. You can't like those. I have specific memories of that. Was one of them. You know, different shows where people just like, you know, the Bahamadia one at Elemental, that was another. But yeah, like that's what Toronto was like. As much as people want to talk about, you know, Screwface, if you had good music, right?
Yes.
People were not ashamed to give it back to you, right? Like that was like
true.
People just fanned out, and if they legit liked you, you would know it. And that's one of the reasons everybody loves coming to Toronto, because we're all music people.
You're so right. Just like, John, we have to. I'd like to do this again if you have. It's so good to talk to a music head like you, and like I didn't even know how amazing of a storyteller you were, dude.
There's so many more.
This is what we live for. Like you know me, man. I love every fucking detail. All I'm surrounded in is music books here. This is just pure music books and stuff. But like, okay, like, I mean, we're gonna be dealing with this pandemic for the next year or whatever. Your industry and your work, all of us are connected in various ways. You know, as our jobs and as our family. It's like this is part of my identity. Like this shit fucked me up when I realized I haven't gone to a real concert like since Cameron came and like March 28th.
Yeah.
And like I like very last show I'll never forget. But like if we could, man, I wanted to say two things. Can we like have a part 2 with you in like 3 months or something, whatever? Well, and like we could talk a little more about the future and like the future of the industry, the future of. I wanted to talk to you about like the cell phone era and like, you know, cell phones and shit changing shit. But like, it's been a great trip down memory lane to talk about the past. So like, I wanted like if we can just part 2, we'll focus on the present pandemic and the future shit. But like. I have a question for you. It's like, you know, I definitely want to talk to you as a person, and it was inspired by something I saw where like I almost cry every time I hear this moment. But I was at a show at the ACC. I saw Sade, and it was like everybody came in tuxedo. This was a life event.
Yeah.
Like, seeing Sade, we're like, motherfucker, like I'm gonna tell my kids about this. And so it was a magnificent masterpiece, amazing show. Second last song of the show, Sade is doing By Your Side, the Neptunes remix. Super beautiful song. It's like, oh my god, she's doing this Neptunes remix. Sade, like this is amazing. I'm at the back of the ACC. We hear this big scream. We're like, someone screamed. So we're like, what the fuck? I was like, no, don't tell me there was a shooting at a Sade show. I was like, no, why did somebody scream? So we turned around and we see this guy on one knee, bended down, proposing to Sade at the show. And I like all of us around were like, yo, bro, like you brought your date and you're proposing at a Sade show? Like,
you're
proper.
Yeah.
I was like, I will never. I'm like, I'm a porn dude, man. I'm like, hey, that's cool. I may not get married, but I'm like, I even love that, man. Like,
I know.
yo, I respect that. That is magnificent. That's like one of the most romantic, beautiful things I ever seen at a concert. I was like, yes. So I just kind of wanted to ask you, like, what's one of like the happiest moment or most romantic moment or most like the most tear-inducing moment that you've had at a show? If you wouldn't mind sharing.
I know there have been a couple of there's been 2 proposals at shows I've done that, and both times they were friends of mine. Yeah. One was, you know, Dwayne Watson.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Dwayne proposed to his girl at what show was that? I think it was at Robin Thicke at the Mod Club.
Oh, word.
Okay, that's what's up.
And hopefully I don't get this wrong. And Dwayne, if you ever see this and I got it wrong, I apologize. But it was Dwayne. And then the second one was that was ages ago. That was when Robin Thicke pre-Blurred Lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second one is a friend of mine, Adrian Fenty, and Adrian's like, he's involved in the basketball world, but he proposed to his girl at a division show I did at the Mod Club.
Oh wow!
One of the first division shows I did at the Mod Club, he proposed. So, and I've seen, sadly, it's like, when you do this for a living, sometimes I end up like sometimes I'll spend entire shows sitting in the back in the office, right? Just if it's been a long day or if I'm doing work on the show, sometimes it's just more comfortable back there. Like I'll go out, I'll watch the show, but it gets to the point where I used to like go out and watch the whole show start to finish, and sometimes you do, and there's some artists where I'll watch the entire thing, but I've had people come back and be like, "Yo, like some guy just proposed to his girl out there," right? And the first question always is, "What did she say?"
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like it's hard to say. For me, a lot of the moments are more like the sort of those passion moments where, like I said, with Quali, like the Bahamadia thing, when the power finally came back on at that show, and the energy that came at Bahamadia.
Yeah, man, insane.
That she talked about. Those are kind of the things I remember. And then sometimes, like, I remember the validation I got from my very first show, that Far Side show, where I knew I lost money. It wasn't the greatest feeling in the world, but I stood at the back of the venue, and my girlfriend at the time was like, who I kind of shared this whole story with, like, I want to do shows and da-da-da. And she literally was like, I was stood at the back of the venue, at the back of the Opera House, and I was looking. She's like, "You did this." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You did this." And I said, "Well, they did this." And the Far Side was on at the time. And she's like, "Yeah, but if there's no you, there's none of this. So it's like, you should be, you should be proud of that." And then in that moment, it was like, well, my bank account's not so proud, but, but I remember later on, when I kind of got over it a couple of days later, and I thought about it, and that really is things I really like, for me, where the real kind of motivation, the real validation comes from. Or if people just randomly would be like, "Yo, I was at this show." Like now it happens a lot on on socials, like that you guys know that account Flyer Vault.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So Dan, who runs Flyer Vault, used to work for me.
Okay.
He collected all our flyers. Kind of that's how the whole thing started. But it's great. He'll post stuff. Sometimes I don't even have, but he'll tag me on it, and people will be like, "Oh my God, I remember the show," and da da da. And there's people that work for me that are like much younger, that weren't around when I started, but they're like, "Yo, you did the show," and that to me is like, I'm like, yeah. So that it's things like that kind of mean a lot. Like it's meeting the artist is great, and kind of doing that kind of stuff. I've never really been like a kind of a hangout kind of guy, but it's like that's the kind of stuff that for me is fun. And then the icing on the cake is what started as a hobby and as just something I was dabbling in turned into a career. And I have like a wonderful wife. I have 2 gorgeous kids. I do this for a living, right? So there's worse things I can be doing than
that's amazing.
So that's
So real quick, like one last question. I know that we keep adding on questions, but this is just because Click was in the chat. Shout out David Cox, man, aka Click. He has a request. So he says, get Ramos to tell the Nas and RC story. The Nas and RC story.
And I gotta shout out Click. It's because I've him and I've been friends for a long time, even before I think he was still an artist, and he's been there like, closer than most to to a lot of the stuff I've done. We've done shows together. So it's those relationships where people that are still friends, right? Like beyond the industry and beyond things. That's kind of like that. That's a big takeaway. So So I'm trying to remember the Nas and
the Illmatic vinyl box set.
Yes. Okay. I'm like, what did RC do to Nas? If you remember, I'll try to get it too quickly. So, my last Nas show was he did a tour, and it was to celebrate the anniversary of Illmatic, and now there was also a documentary film that he.
Time is Illmatic.
Yeah. And he did this tour where he was screening the film, and then he would do the show, same stage. Literally, as the credits rolled, he would come out and do Illmatic front to back. And it was at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre. We did 2 nights. This was going back, I think, 5 or 6
years. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
About 5, 6
amazing show. Like to me, that was like the show's magical. Anyways, RC and Sirius, and there was somebody else, were doing these custom vinyl box sets. I can't remember the whole thing, but it was these insane box sets that they were doing, and I believe he was selling them, but he literally wanted to gift one to Nas. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, come to the show. So I go, and Nas's longtime road manager, I said, listen, these guys are friends of mine. They did this, and I went and found RC. I'm like, give this to me. I'll be right back. I showed him this, and the tour manager was like, what the fuck? He was like, what is this? And I'm like, these guys did it. They're friends of mine. And I'm like, they want to present it to him, but I'd like them to present it to him. He's like, yeah, 100%. He's like, go get them. So I went and got them. We all went down, and I came in, and I was like, yo, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. And like, these are friends of mine. They have something I want to give to you. And they give him this box set. And we're talking about, this is Nas, right? Seen it all, Nas, been there, done that, Nas, like probably bored of people being like, you're the greatest, or people telling them their Illmatic stories. And
Illmatic's the best. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's sort of like, and he handles it well, but genuinely, this guy was like, what the and like, yeah, like and Click probably remembers it better than I do, but he genuinely had an moment of awe where he looked at this thing and he was like, yo, this is crazy. And then the tour manager turns to me and goes like, where's mine? And I'm like,
come on, man.
Yeah. And I'm like, yo, I didn't get one. If I didn't get one, you're not getting one. But they were really, really limited edition. I wish I could, I wish you could see it, but you look at
it. What was it?
I don't know why I can't see the chat. I don't see the chat on my thing, but yeah, I mean, maybe. Oh, there's the chat. Look at that. It's been there the whole time. Oh, there it is. Click just told me the box set. It wasn't the albums.
Oh, had every break that was sampled.
Every vinyl version of every break that was sampled on Illmatic.
Oh,
yes, it's all coming back to me now.
Okay.
Oh my Lord, that's sick.
That in and of itself is, just if somebody said, "Hey, here's the vinyl of every." Beyond that, they went and did this crazy box, and like it was actually a moment where, because you don't want to be that guy and then introduce them, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever, cool, thanks, peace."
Yeah,
right.
But it was so amazing that that, you know, like he was like, yo, yeah, and coveted it, because, you know, 8 times out of 10 when people give artists stuff and they leave the venue and you go to clean out the dressing room, it's right there in the dressing room. Like they were looking around, they're like, yo, grab that Henny, grab that, let's be out. And they leave, and fan gifts, and, you know, a lot of times clothing, you know, especially Toronto people love to give people like their own, you know, people have clothing lines.
You already know.
Sitting on the couch, right? But yeah, that part of me was hoping that Nas left that on the couch in the dressing room, but
oh man,
he legit took it with him. He didn't even ask his guy to pick it up. When he got in the truck at the end of the show, he said peace, and he gave me a dap with one hand, because in the other hand he had this box with him.
Oh wow,
yeah.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, man. Yo, thank you so much, Johnathan. Man. Thank you. Yo, dude, we please, can we do a part 2 later this year?
Honestly, I'd anything for you. It's my way of returning, you know, the energy you put out into the universe of the shows. That means a lot to us.
Oh,
and both of you. And just, you know, so you guys know, it's like this sort of like universe that we have in Toronto is like everybody kind of plays a role, whether they know it or not. So Logic, the stuff you've done, like the Stolen for Africa stuff, but sometimes just being there and like being parts of the show, even as a consumer, that all matters. And to me, that's a legit part. So to this day, I would take it for granted to see people, even like, you know, embarrassingly like yourselves. Like, I see you guys at shows, I dap you up, what's up, we keep it moving. Yeah. It's like I appreciate people more when I see them now, you know, and so I think that to me is like, that's Toronto, that's the shows. So, you know, my stories, I can tell you stories about Nas and the Roots and, you know, Doom for days, but, you know, the fun stories are like, you know, like Addy, your thing, you know, like your, you know, so yeah, it's oh, and Addy, can I tell you the sorry to make this all about you, but
no, I don't care, man.
No, please.
I will get going, but I don't know if you remember, but you were at a show at the Great Hall years ago. What's the dude from New York, white guy, real underground?
Not Wax.
I did it.
Cage?
Huh? No,
Cage?
It's something to something. It's anyways. So listen. So I do.
Ari the Rugged Man. Maybe Ari the Rugged Man.
Ari the Rugged Man. So I did a show that night at the Opera House with A$AP Rocky. Right, sold out. Rocky's first show, and everybody was there. Drake came. Rocky's agent flew down from New York. You know, became a friend of mine. But Josh, super nice guy. Josh, also the guy that started hip hop karaoke in New York. So a real head. He came down, amazing, magical night. And then they're like, Rocky's like, yo, we're going to after party. Lola threw a party for him in the private room above the Great Hall. Right. And so we're all going, and me, Josh, Rocky's Canadian agent was there as well. We go in the front, and those guys are all there. Like Drake's up there, Rocky's up there, like all of A$AP's up there, tons of OVO guys, and this is like a little private thing, right? So it's gonna be fun. We're walking up the stairs from the street, and to get up to that floor, you have to pass the entrance to the main room of the Great Hall, right? And we're walking, and Josh puts his hand on my shoulder, and he was like, yo, do you hear that? I'm like, what? He's like, yo, I hear Ari the Rugged Man. And I'm like, how the fuck? Like, you're A$AP Rocky's agent. Like, I don't know. I didn't know that show was happening. And he's like, can we go in? And I'm like, but Drake's upstairs and Rocky's upstairs. And he's like, yo, just let's just go and see Ari for a minute. I love this dude. So we're watching the show. You come up to me and give me daps.
Okay.
And then you're like, and then you keep it moving. Josh is like, yo. And I'm like, this is Josh, big agent in New York. He now manages Flatbush Zombies. You know, like at a time he was the agent for like Mac Miller, A$AP Rocky, you know, Danny Brown, like all these guys. Anyways, he was like, yo. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, is that Mindbender?
No, no,
like,
stop. What?
I'm like,
I'm like, yes. Are you fucking with me? He's like, no, bro. He starts to tell me about some crazy message board back in the day.
Oh shit!
In the pre-internet nerd days that he was on, and you were like, our legend on that board.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yo, and I'm telling you, and he was like, yo, you don't know. It's like, and I'm like, you want to meet him? He's like, fuck yeah. So I went and grabbed you. I'm like, Addy, this is my friend Josh. And so it's like, and then you guys chopped it up for like a while, right?
I'm at the Great Hall. That memory started to come together for me, actually. Yeah, like, wow.
So then, so then I'm like, yo, we better go because I don't know what's going on upstairs. You guys had already pieced out. And then we go upstairs, and this guy all night is like, yo, I can't believe I met Mindbender. we're standing beside Rocky and Ferg and Yams, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
And Drake is like, they're all there. And this guy keeps hitting me. He's like, yo, I fucking met Mindbender.
John, oh my god, that warms my heart. He didn't tell me that's who he was. Like, when we talked, I didn't know that's what his, like, the business he did. We only talked about the message board a little bit.
Yeah.
So like, that is crazy.
Yeah. And he's not that guy. He's not going to run off his resume to you. He was just more because the rest of the night he would tell me about different, like, situations on the message board where you were in there, and he was like, yo, this guy's legit, so yeah. all like real hero shit. So just
oh my god, that's so hilarious. Oh my, thank you so much, because so many I'm like, I'm like, yo, I'm just who I am. It's a huge American message board, and I'm like, I'm here in Toronto and we have a great scene and I'm a part of the scene. And a lot of these people, like, it was like 10, 15 years ago, so a lot of the people are like, oh, what does Toronto have? What do what kind of hip hop do you guys have? Like, whatever. And it's like Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, whatever. And we're like, yo, we got some good shit here. And we have a great concert scene where a lot of people come through. I've seen a lot of shows. And I was like, yo, man, like, we got something here. And they were like, oh, fuck you, Mindbender. And I would just hold it down and be like, no, man, like, Toronto is dope. I'm like, one day y'all will see. And it's like it was pre-Drake in a lot of the message board days. I'm like, yo, y'all will see one day, like, Toronto is an ill hip hop city. And like, I'm like, yo, I'm a dude. And I'm like, I'm not saying like I'm the king of Toronto, but I'm like, I am somebody here because I am part of the scene. And like, yo, like, I'm not some internet fake broad. I'm just a dude, but I love hip hop. And I'm real, Toronto's real, and like, what the fuck? If y'all hate us, you're missing out. But my God, thank you for that, John. Like, oh my God. The last thing I gotta tell you is my like, before part 2, we gotta do a part 2, but I've seen the Roots 21 times. That's the most I've ever seen anybody is the Roots 21 concerts, and that's on you. So thank you for that. I'm like 10 or 11 for De La Soul, and it's like 14 for Method Man or whatever, but like 21 times Roots concerts is my record for you, for one group. And we gotta keep this going, man.
All right. I mean, you let me know. I love doing this stuff. I love reminiscing. Yes. It reminds me. I get to recount stuff that I otherwise would forget, and it's it's good. But it's also to me it's good for, like, it's not just me talking about me, but it's like sharing the stories and then reminding, people reminding me reminding other people, but just about sort of, what we all are in some small way involved in, which to me is huge, and in probably in the best city in the world.
Yes, absolutely, man. Well, maybe you can do it right before the summer, where if we could talk about what the summer fucking vibe is going to be, what the summer entertainment world is going to be, if we could.
Mm-hmm.
I like, we're doing part 2 for sure, John. It's so great to have you, man. This is the best. Thank you for the stories, man.
Legendary, man. Legendary.
Thank you both. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate that, man.
You're coming back. We'll see you soon, man. Much love to your family and friends, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll be back next week, man. So we're going to sign off, man, every Tuesday, man, 7 p.m., the Reminisce Show. Big up Ramos, man. Legend out here, man. OG,
big up Ramos, Canada's best promoter.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, man. We out, man. We out.